Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to another Blender tutorial that I'm being forced. In this one, we're going to be making a fountain, again, in the same art style as the house, because we are making this for someone else. First thing we're going to do, or first thing you can take note of, in the bottom right corner here, you can see the buttons that I am pressing. Middle mouse, Shift A, whatever. I noticed in my previous video that I'll say Control A, but I'll actually press Shift A. So keep an eye on the bottom right corner, because I'll probably end up saying something different than the actual hotkey. Okay, so one on the numpad to go into front view, Shift A, image, background. We're going to use this fountain image that I took from RuneScape. G to grab. Move it over here. We're not gonna keep it in the middle because we're not tracing this one. We're just gonna have to eyeball it. Move that over there. Let's get an idea of the shapes. We got a big base square at the bottom, and then we've got more squares on each corner. Then we got another square coming through, and then it kind of scales in, or coming through the middle and up, scales in. Then we have some sort of circle. We could maybe extrude that, another square. You know, this looks like we could bring up a square, scale it in, bring the square all the way up, and then just scale it up like that, and then inset. It's going to be a very, very easy shape to do. So I'm going to go and do this from the top view so I don't have to adjust the camera. So tab into edit mode, press 3 for face select, I'll press I for inset. There we go. That kind of gives us the pool that we had there. E to extrude. I'm just going to extrude inward. That's where the water is going to be. Let's go back into front view. Let's see. Let's move this image over here slightly. And then we have like a square in the middle, and then that goes up. So I think we're just going to make a new square. So Shift A, cube, scale it down. And it's actually going to end up behind our cube there. So GY, grab it on the y-axis, GY, and then hold down Control. Oh, we're on increment. So we'll go up to the top here, select vertex for our snapping tool, and we'll GY along the X, or the grab G. Hold on, let's go back into solid view so it's a little bit easier to see. G to grab, Y, because we want to keep it on the y-axis, and then we're going to press Control so it snaps to a vertex. There we go. So now it's flush against that. Go back into our front view. And now we're going to work our way up. So let's just tab out of this. Let's rotate this on the x-axis 90 degrees. Oh, we want it the other way, so we'll just press the minus. Press enter. Tab back into edit mode. We can see that this comes up. Let's press 3 for face select. Grab this top face. Go back to our front view. Let's G to grab along the Z. Press Z if it doesn't lock in, or else you'll end up making it all weird. I think that kind of looks good here. The scale's a little bit off, so let's just bring in the bottom face, G, Z, so we can get a better idea of what the proportions look like. Okay, that looks good. Let's grab this top face again. And then we're going to extrude. And then scale in a bit. Let's press S to scale a little bit more. And then extrude. Oops. Extrude all the way up. It almost looks like it kind of gets a little bit smaller on the second bowl. So we'll just E to extrude, scale it down again, and then E to extrude up. And then there's kind of like this rim thing going around it. So we can E to extrude. Actually, we'll just right click to leave it there. And we'll press period on the numpad to zoom right into that area. We'll go S for scale. I don't know if you can see this on the video, but it's actually scaling up slightly. And then we'll go G to grab. Grab it on the Z axis. There we go. Extrude a little bit. Extrude again. And then we'll just scale it in. Try to line it up with the other one. The other line there. There we go. It kind of gives us a little bit of a ring. And then we kind of pop out and then straight up. So let's just extrude again. About that high. We'll scale it up so we're kind of popping out there. And then extrude up again. There we go. And then we got to inset the top. So we'll do I for inset. And then we'll go E for extrude. Make sure lock to the Z axis. Bring it down. Make sure it doesn't pop through. There we go. We can put some water in there later. All right, it's looking pretty good. What else do we have? So we have some, let's do the 4 squares. Actually, let's look at the front. We got to make this bottom base bigger. So let's go ahead and press this face and let's press Control++. What do we get? Okay. So we're going to scale this, but we're not going to want to scale it on the Z axis. So press S to scale, and then we'll do Shift Z. So that'll stop it from scaling in the Z axis. So we'll scale it up. That looks good. Okay. I'm going to top view, Shift A, cube, and we'll bring this cube over here. We'll scale this down so it's a bit bigger. There we go. Go into front view, Z, G, bring this up. It's not that much bigger. It's kind of just a little bit bigger. So we'll just go back into top view, period on the numpad. Let's go Z wireframe and just scale this down even more until it kind of looks good. That looks good to me. Front view, G, Z. Bring this up above the base bottom line. We'll do G and Z again, hold Control, and then snap it to the bottom vertex. And Z, and slide over into solid view. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then there's a bit of a accent on the top here. I don't know what the heck they call these things. So we'll press 3 for face select, and we will do E to extrude. I'll just right click to leave it there. S to scale. Hold down Shift just to scale it slightly. And then we will do E to extrude on the Z axis, just ever so slightly, and then scale this in. There we go. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, let's check the reference image. There's some markings on the side too. Okay, so let's just, this time we're actually going to left click to put our 3D cursor there. And then we'll do Shift A. We'll press a cube, scale this down. Let's check our reference image again. It's kind of a rectangle with a bit of a zoomed out thingy. So let's scale on the x-axis. Whoops. Scale on the y-axis. And then we'll press period to center the camera. 3 for face select. Select this face, and then we'll just scale this down. How does that look? I'm going to grab this face, GX, and then hold down Control and snap it to this vertex. So we get more of that sharper, the sharper angle. G and X to bring this in a bit. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay, hold down Control, ++, so we can select all those faces. Shift D, and then I will rotate it on the Z 90 degrees. I want it to face the other way, so I'll press minus, enter. G to grab, bring it along the y-axis. And now that it's past this edge, I'm going to press GY and hold down Control, and then mouse over a vertex here. There we go. So now it's lined up perfectly. And then I'll do G and X, and then I'll just basically eyeball it. There we go. Okay, so now we kind of have like this reusable piece here. So I'm going to do it. What I'm going to do is select this face, and this face. Just Control +++. Try to get everything in there. And then I'm going to do top view. Shift D. And bring it over here along the x-axis. Kind of lines up. And then we have to rotate it along the Z. And I'll do 90 degrees. Okay, GX, bring this over. So it's kind of centered. Then we'll do the same thing over here. We'll grab the other one, the original one we had. Control plus plus, make sure everything's selected. 7 on the numpad to go back into top view. Shift D, bring this down, lock it on the Y-axis, and then we'll rotate Z 180 degrees. There we go. And then we'll press G to grab Y on the Y-axis and just bring this up so it looks good. Looks good to me. There we go. All right, let's go 1 in the numpad for front view. And we have some markings. Okay. How can we do these markings? Could do a Boolean operation, or we could try and do edge loops. So let's do 2 edge loops this way. I'll do 2 edge loops this way. And then we will go to number 2, press 2 on the keyboard, shift right click these 2, and we'll do shift B, and this will be to bevel them. And it's kind of working, I think. Yeah, okay, so we'll shift B, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I'm gonna actually mouse up 1 time. So it's gonna create another edge in the middle here. Let me just zoom in. So it creates another edge in the middle here. And then I'm just gonna grab this edge, and I'm gonna do G for grab, and then X along the X axis. I'm gonna push it all the way back. I wonder if I can hold control and line it up there, or maybe line it up with that. There we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let's just repeat the process here. Control B. Actually, let's grab the other ones over here as well. Control B. And we'll grab these 2 edges, GY, and we will control click to that. Grab this edge, GY, control, click to that edge. And then we'll do the same on this end. Control B. Select these 2 edges, GX. Hold control to snap to that edge. There we go. It's pretty thick. It's pretty deep, but I think it gets the idea across. Let's check our reference image again. Okay, now we got to create this bowl. We're going to actually do this bowl not in this object. So if you're in edit mode like this, press tab, we'll go back into object mode, and we'll leave this object for now. And we're going to do Shift A, and we're going to create a mesh, and let's do a circle. Now this little context menu is going to pop up here on the left. Vertices, we don't need 32. I would say more than 6, maybe 8 at the most. 8 at the most, because we're kind of doing a little bit of a low poly style game here. Okay, so we got 8 edges here on our circle. Let's tab into edit mode. Press 1 for vertex, or 1 or 2. That actually doesn't matter. We'll press E to extrude. We'll press it along the Z axis, so it's locked. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then we will do Control R to create an edge loop. Let's just check our reference image. So we've got the edge there, and then it kind of scoops. It kind of scoops down a bit. Okay. So let's do G to grab. Bring this up slightly. We'll press 2 for edge select. Hold Alt and right-click these bottom edges. Scale these in. I don't know how deep we want. I think that's fine. We'll press F to fill. So there we go. We've got a basic bowl there. Let's fix the top end. We'll press 2 for edge select. Hold Alt, right-click the top edges. And we'll do E to extrude. And then S to scale it in. So something looks good like that. And then we'll do E to extrude along the Z axis. Scale it in slightly. Let's hide this other thing here. You can press the I on the other model, this I right here. G, bring it down. so that it doesn't go through. We'll just scale this out, scale it down. There we go. That's as far as it's going to go. Press F to fill. There, we have a bowl. Doesn't look too bad, I think. Let's check the bowl here. It's also got some edges. Whoops. It's got some edges here for the water to fall off. So let's see if we can make those. What can we do to make those? Edge loops. 2 edge loops. Okay. And then what if we did scale, Shift Z? No. Okay. So let's do 2. We'll hold Alt right click, and then we'll do G. You know what? Actually, let's just leave it like that. I think that looks fine. Kind of opens up. We don't need to make everything perfect here. So in order to make this work, we're going to create another edge loop on the inside of the circle and leave it in the middle. Another edge loop on the outside, and we'll leave it right there. And then we're just going to select this face, this face, this face, this face, press X, delete faces. So now we have that. And now we can select, or we can press 2 on the keyboard, select this edge, press F to fill. And then we can go into vertex select, this vertex, this vertex, this vertex. So we kind of create a triangle there, F to fill. And then we'll do the top here and fill that in. This is, I mean, we could have selected everything here and pressed F, but then we would have had an end gone, and then we would have, the game engine that we're going to use this in would have had to triangulate this anyways, and then it might have made it a triangle here, or it might have made a triangle there, and then there, and then I don't want to get into too much theory and performance stuff, but for now, just try to make triangles when you can. So we'll do F to fill, and at the most, leave it a quad. And that should be good. I think that looks good. Okay, let's do the same on the other side. All right, there we go. We have all 4 of our edges. Let's go back into front view. And now this is kind of offset, so we'll do tab out of edit mode. Front view, we will make our fountain visible again. G to grab, we'll bring this over here, kind of center it as best we can. Check the side view. G and Y, center it as best we can. G and Z, bring it down. How many of these do we have? 2, so we have a second one kind of up here. Okay. Let's do S to scale. Front view. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay. And then we'll do Shift D again. We know Shift D. Press Z to lock it. We'll put it about there, I guess. We'll scale it down. Yeah, it'll look fine. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Scale it down. G and Z, bring it up a bit. And then it's kind of offset, like you see the water falls off here and it falls off here. It's offset in the image. So we can just do R to rotate, press Z to rotate on the Z axis. There we go, that looks good. Control S to save. Call this fountain. And let's press Z, go into rendered. Doesn't look too bad already. Let's see if there's any other, well, I noticed a bit of a detail here. That part is popping through. I don't really like that. I'm going to G and Z, bring this up slightly. There we go. I think looks pretty good. All right, so the modeling part is done. We're going to go ahead and select everything that we want to use here, which is these 2 bowls and then the main fountain. Select everything, and we'll do Control J. There we go. So everything is now joined. We're going to properly rename this. Fountain _01. Maybe call it doodad. So we can also find this a little bit easier. And we'll name the mesh properly, not just the Blender object. Doodad Fountain 01. we'll go to the materials tab, matte underscore, call this doodads. And then for base color, we'll select the yellow button. Whoops. The yellow button, image texture. Open. Up. Let's check the palette that we have been given. And now we can go into UV editing. Select all. And we will just go to front view. And we will press U. Project from view. Now we got our little fountain right there. And now we need to find a stone color and then an accent color. So let's grab, we're just gonna grab everything for now and then just find a decent stone color. I'm thinking maybe, yeah, let's just do this one we have here. G to grab and scale. And then we'll go into layout and just see what that looks like. Material preview. Doesn't really look too much different. And then we'll grab those accents that need to be blue. So this one. Oh, 3 for face select. This one. The tops were blue, weren't they? Yeah, we'll do the tops blue and then that accent marker. And then I'm not going to do these little things here, and I'm not going to do this thing sticking out just because this is the style of the game doesn't have that much detail. But these things I will do blue. We'll grab the other faces over here. Grab these ones, Control++. Okay. Not selecting anything weird. Those ones. Control++. Make sure we got everything. Looks good. Anything else need to be blue? Oh yeah, this top marker will make it blue. So we'll just go front view. Z wireframe, and then I'm going to press B and drag and select just those faces. Make sure it didn't unselect my other faces. Nope. Z, go back into solid view. Okay. And then I'll go over to my other panel here and we'll press G. Bring this down to a dark blue. That looks good. Let's check that one. I think I like that. Let's go ahead and render this out. Render engine to cycles. The dimensions, we'll just put that at 50% and press F12. Okay, our camera was off slightly, so we'll press 0 on the numpad, and then shift and the tilde key or accent grave, whatever the hell it wants to call it. Use the ASDF keys to zoom out. Press F12 again. Okay, looks pretty good. It's a bit dark, but that'll be different once it's in game. I think we're ready to ship this off. Go ahead and save as, and now we will finish cleaning up the model. So this is kind of like a big fountain. This is like twice the size of a human, so we'll go ahead and add our measurement cube in. Press N to bring up the side panel. Click item tab. Press 1 here, 1 here. You don't really need to do that, but I'll bring this over here. And then I'll do Shift D. We can kind of see that it's 2 humans high. G and Z, bring this down. So it's a bit too big. Press S to scale. G and Z. There we go. That looks much better. Zoom in, bring it down. Looks good enough to me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab into edit mode for this. Z wireframe. I'm going to press 1 for vertex select. I'm going to press B. And I'm going to select all these bottom vertices. And I'm going to press G to grab and bring them down on the Z axis. An issue that you run into when you're making games is generally grounds aren't exactly perfectly even. So we're just going to bring those down, extend it down, so that when the person making the game, they're not going to have to worry about perfectly flat grounds, and maybe it just gives them a little bit more wiggle room. So then we'll leave it there because we want the edge of the fountain here, but this other stuff is just extra for the map maker to put under the ground. Control S to save, and now we have our scale correct. We can press Shift A or Control A. Control A, we're going to apply all the transforms. Top view, yep, it's centered. Our UV is set. Let's check our material preview. Looks good. Scale set, naming is set. Textures are all set. All right, project is saved. We are good to export. That's it for this tutorial.